Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Annie's Replay Casting. I'll be your caster Annie, aka Android, and this is going to be match number 22494588348. Looks like it's going to be a good one here. Had a peek at the stats, looks like we're in for a long one, and it should be pretty awesome, full of lots of bloodbaths and fights and deaths and whatnot, so hopefully we will see what it's going to bring here. Just a quick note before we really start, this is a 6.86 replay, so some things in terms of items and builds and hero strengths are going to be slightly different, as well as the map. There are juke paths that are not present on this current map, so if someone walks through a tree or a cliff, that's why Reborn is still getting its stuff together. And I also can't click on heroes, so we'll see what happens with that here. But we're going to have some action here on the top rune. Jakiro in some trouble. There's going to be right clicks abundant, but looks like everyone's backing off here. Clint Eastwood grabbing up the top rune, and down bottom we do have Swarm Spirit being played by some Chinese characters, grabbing it up for himself in the mid. Down here in the bottom lane, we've got Leshrac being played by a very fit and skinny guy. Looks like Seb Good Job Lim is taking up the Sven. Over here in the top lane for the Dire, we have got the slightly bruised Jakiro, Joe's Shanghai Soup Dumplings, matching up with Top as the Terrorblade, so lots of split push able to come out here from this Dire safe lane. Definitely something Radiant have to watch out for. If they let this Terrorblade get too much momentum, it's going to be kind of miserable here. Now on the side of the Radiant, we've got Meat Mert playing up the Clinks here, going to be offering a lot of right-click damage, should be pretty decent against the Terrorblade, just has to make sure that he keeps his distance, because one little sunder there, he could be in some deep trouble. Now Shoes going to be playing up the Lich. Down bottom, we are going to have a solo safe lane for the moment. It's going to be Niku PQ Senpai, please notice me playing the Slark. Over here in the jungle, we have the Nature's Prophet being played by MYMXCB. Don't know if that's Meet Your Makers or not. So it looks like we're going to have some interesting lanes. We have to keep an eye out on where the first blood is going to be shed. I'm guessing Slark might have a difficult time here because, you know, he does have that value point in the pounce, but very fit and skinny guy sitting there on the Leshrac has that split earth at the ready. Definitely wanting to go in. They've got stun lockdown with the Sven as well. Sven does have that point in his Stormhammer, so I'm not opting to go for the max cleave build initially. Wanting to make sure he has that value there, making sure he's able to go through and get that lockdown on the Slark if they get an opportunity. Now up top, Clinks, he's going through, laying in the damage to Jakiro. Could be in some trouble there. Going to pop out some damage onto the Clinks. Now Meat Merp himself in some trouble. One or two more last hits. Can he get away? He's trying to run, but he can't hide. He doesn't have the skeleton walk, and Top will get first blood onto the Clinks. He went in, he was trying to be ambitious, but that two-headed dragon, just a little bit too evasive. He does end up falling here, but Shoes may end up trading away his life as well as Terrorblade. Could pick up a double kill and will do so at 2 minutes in the game. We talked earlier about how, you know, you let Terrorblade get a little too much space and suddenly becomes unkillable. Well, a double kill at a minute and a half in is certainly a way to start that out.
The seeds of fortune.
Now mid lane, we haven't talked a whole lot about the matchup here. It's going to be Zeus versus Storm Spirit, so a little bit of Electric Boys action going on in the mid, and looks like Storm Spirit's a little bit worse for wear here, taking a lot of damage down to his last Tango. And well, he does pick up a bottle now, so flying in a bit more regen. Down bottom, could be some blood coming out as we do have Lich rotating down. Will be guarding up the Slark, making sure Slark is getting some decent farm here, because Slark's suffering. Only 6 last hits to his name versus the Sven's 14, so more than doubling up his farm here. And, you know, neither is ideal. At 2.5 minutes in, it's not perfect CS by any means, but the Sven's just going to get so much more out of that gold that he gets early game. So maybe picking up an early drum might be something for him. Looks like he does pick up the Robe of the Magi, so that will be the case again back in 6.86. That was how you do it. And now Leshrac here, maybe looking for something, is staying in lane for a while, not exactly going up and harassing as much as he could be, just kind of sitting there by the creep wave, so hopefully Sven's experience won't take too much of a dive. And over here we are going to have Slark desperately trying to go in. They get the Leshrac stun, but a little bit of split target syndrome. They go in, they get the split earth, his Shoes just gets pummeled down. Now a nice pounce, very fit and skinny guy in some trouble. But it looks like they end up just losing a Lich and aren't able to trade anything back, and Slark having to go away, use that precious regen. He does pick himself up a Wraithband, so a little bit more tankability his way, but, you know, in the end, you can't keep dropping the Lich like that. That's Lich's second death. He did secure a kill on the Jakiro up in that top lane, but I mean, not worth it here, is that just makes the Slark's lane tougher and tougher. A fed Sven, especially at such an early time in the game, is such a difficult thing to go up against. Now the good thing is that Sven is running a little bit low on mana, doesn't have enough for any more Stormhammers, doesn't have any bottles or clarities at the ready, so has to be a little bit more cautious here. Can't just go all in, full throttle onto the Slark anymore, but, you know, that may not stop him. He may just walk right up, doing some damage there with that Warcry, getting that speed. Surprise, no Great Cleave just yet. Again, he is only level 3, but usually a value point is pretty solid unless you want to go for the no cleave build, which, you know, in a game where farm means everything, might not be the best strategy. Now up here we are going to have Mert going up through. We'll take an ice path to the face as You know, this dumpling shop is not having any of it. And now down bottom we are going to have Slark doing his best just to keep up here, but his farm is really suffering. Only found himself 9 last hits to the Sven's 23, so, you know, the bigger that difference gets, the more it's going to be tough for Slark to get back in this game, because he's such a snowball hero. You got to make sure he's getting something out of the map at all times, and, you know, he's getting some decent experience here. He is going to be sitting at level 5, so out-leveling the Sven, but he can't sacrifice gold like this at such an extent. Now up top we've got the Terrorblade. He's actually getting a decent amount of farm here. 21 last hits to his name, being flying in some goodies in the courier. Gonna be picking himself up, looks like a magic wand. He's got his full treads, full poor man shield, so he's already got his kit online if he wants to start fighting and pushing early. Interesting to see what build he goes for here. And he could go for that fighting build, could go for you know, that split pushing build. He's got a lot of options. Terrorblade, not a super meta hero, or wasn't at least at the time this game was played, but we'll see what he's able to do here, as a well-fed Terrorblade, again, can just be a nightmare to deal with. We've got to have Klinks doing his best here to get some farm to his name. He only has 10 last hits, undershotting the Slark here, so really not getting much in terms of gold. Now, down bottom looks like he will be taking a split earth to the face. He's locked in place. There's no more follow-up stun. He tries to pounce, but just one more click from the Sven will take him out. And that means that's going to be Sven's second kill of the game, 2-0, now most of the way to a Drums of Endurance. He's going to have some serious pushing power, and now they're already whacking away at this tower. Over here, we haven't talked a whole lot about the mid matchup because there's not a whole lot of blood. These electric boys just really want to get their farm going for themselves. We've got that magic stick, we've got the bottle here. Null Tally picked up for the Storm, so may try to go for that Veil of Discord up here on the side of the Zeus. We are going to have Arcanes picked up and the bottle, so definitely prioritizing getting that mana going for himself, and wouldn't be surprised to see an Ether Lens rushed out as well. And it looks like he's going to be bringing in a Sager's Mask, so that is most likely the play. Now over here we are going to have a rotation in. I'm unsure if they're going all the way to mid lane or if they're just going to wrap around for some nice jungle farm, but, you know, taking out the Zeus here would be a really nice kill. We'll see if Storm's on board here. I mean, he's taking some damage here, but Storm, he's got that Arcane Rune, which is, I mean, that's just filthy. And it looks like there is going to be a little bit of a double back here, as good job Lim in some trouble here, as Slark actually gets a decent amount of damage off on him. Gets a nice Dark Path, gets a nice ulti off, but in the end, they're still going to have to deal with this full health Leshrac coming back on through. There's going to be a Lich going through, spraying out some damage. Can they get the kill on Leshrac? He doesn't have a whole lot to deal with this. He's going in with that split earth. They will get this done. They bring in the Storm Spirit. It looks like it will be a dead Slark. That's real unfortunate here. Can Shoes get away? There's another zip in from the Storm. Again, that Arcane Rune just working double time, and it will secure him a double kill. Now, Leshrac gets low. Jakiro very low as well, but no casualties yet on this side. They've only dropped one hero total the entire game, and that was the Jakiro very early on. And, you know, with Slark, that was only his first death, or rather his second death, but those things add up so quick, especially when they're not being met with equal kills. So every time Slark goes down and doesn't drag someone with him, you know, that just hurts double. Now up top, we are going to have Top doing his thing here on that Terrorblade. He's saving up some gold here, flying in that Ring of Aquila. Nice sustain going for him. We'll see if he wants to pick up his first big item soon or just sit back with these casual stepping stones, because, you know, these stepping stones are working out. He's getting a lot in terms of farm, in terms of XP here. He's sitting on level 6, so he's got that Sunder when he needs it. If he really wants to go in and get ultra aggro on the Klinks, he can do so. And now down bottom here, we're going to look at Slark's item build. He doesn't have a whole lot. He's got those brown boots, he's got that Wraith Band, but it looks like he's going for an Aquila, and he's just not anywhere near it at this point. And, you know, in a game against a Sven, you've got to come online early, you've got to come online hard, because Sven scales so well naturally up into the late game. Up here, Shoes, he is in a heap of trouble here. Looks like Terrorblade will secure himself a killing spree. It did cost him his Sunder, as I think Lich was just a little overambitious, went in, really wanted to get that kill, but was unaware that all Terrorblade had to do was click R, and suddenly all of Lich's health was gone.
Radiant's bottom tower has been denied.
And mid lane, Storm Spirit once again sitting a little bit low, has a bottle sip if he needs it. Clint Eastwood going in, ready to just unload, but it looks like the Thunder God's Wrath will be dodged out by Storm Spirit's zip. Eventually, they will get the kill using that Arc Lightning, but Storm Spirit almost got away with a very cheeky play, and that will be his first death of the game after 2 kills, so it's not super detrimental. And this top tower may end up falling here as Terrorblade just, oh, he is in his final form there, just doing some serious damage, getting the most out of that metamorphosis.
Dire's Dire's middle tower.
Now Sven, he's rotating with this Leshrac. These two have been playing so well. The synergy is definitely apparent. Not sure if they're frequent landing partners or what, but the follow-up split earths from the Leshrac capitalizing on all those Stormhammers from the Sven have meant just so many more secured kills, whereas, you know, usually Sven and Leshrac, they can secure a lot of damage. They have a bit of trouble finally going in and getting that lockdown. Oh, we have the courier in some trouble. That's going to be a leap away from the Slark. I don't think they can catch this Sven. I mean, he's fast with those drums, but not fast enough. Maybe a charge in the drums would have been enough to get the catch. Well, woulda, shoulda, coulda. As they're going to go back to farming here, just a lot of power exerted from the Dire right now. Kill score is 2-7. It's looking really, really good for them. I mean, they've got heroes like a Terrorblade who's on a killing spree. They've got a Sven who's doing so well. They've got a Storm Spirit with 1 death, but a lot of mobility now. He's going to be going towards that first big item. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Bloodstone right away, and it's just going to get better and better. And if the Slark continues to just kind of fall flat, it's really going to be tough for the Radiant.
A tithe to the impurities.
Now Klink's going on in, he eats a yummy, yummy creep. We'll see if he wants to turn this into a kill here, because he's got his work cut out for him if he wants to go in and get some actual blood. I mean, he's sitting on brown boots and a Ring of Aquila. Compare that to the Terrorblade's Aquila with finished treads and a poor man's shield, and what looks to be the better part of a Yasha, so going into that farming build. That is really, really scary to go against. I mean, he's just a little skeleton. There's not much he can do. I mean, he hits decently hard. He's got that strafe going in, laying in the damage, but there's only so much. Now, there is going to be a zip on in as the Nature's Prophet. He went in for an ambitious gank and ends up just kind of suffering underneath this tower. Storm Spirit, he's out of mana, but only down to about 2/3 health. Not really spooked as much as Nature's Prophet hoped. Up top, Merp decides he doesn't want to tangle with this Terrorblade, as Terrorblade is just a little bit too big, too beefy. He does have that ult up, so you have to kind of make sure he's locked down for the duration of his death. Otherwise he just goes in and sunders you, and all of a sudden you're the one in trouble. Leshrac, he's sitting around here. I'm surprised he isn't sitting on any wards, because he's spending a lot of time up in this Radiant jungle, but just being able to plop down a quick observer and walking back into lane would be so much more useful for him, and a better use of his time. Deciding if he wants to rotate in on Clint Eastwood, who's going in, has that Soul Ring up, so we'll see what he wants to go for. First, he picks up the point booster, so we're not going to see an immediate Ether Lens. He gets zipped in, he gets dragged down, there will be a Split Earth to follow up, and that will be a secured kill. There's going to be a Nature's Prophet coming back on through. They get the pounce as Leshrac might end up paying the ultimate price for this kill. He will give away his life, but in the end, the kill on the Zeus went to the Storm Spirit, and Leshrac's only a support, so net gain for the Dire overall. That's going to be a slight advantage in their favor. Now over here, we've got a rumble in the jungle. There's going to be an invisible meat merp going back in onto top. Top sitting here. He's popped that metamorphosis, so he's a big guy, and he's looking for something. He's going in deep. He's going in very, very deep. Does the Klinks want to initiate on this? They bring in the Nature's Prophet as well, who is going to be going for more of a fighting build there. He's got that Midas, and he wants to take this late. Oh, Klinks! He's going back on through. Do they have vision? They get the lockdown, but I think that's going to be it. They've got nothing else to reveal. And that was a little bit scary for the little Klinks, but in the end, no one ends up falling. Now over here, we've got the Nature's Prophet sitting back, calm, relaxed, and mid lane, there's going to be a big old push coming out from the Dire. They're going in onto this tier 1 tower, just ripping it apart. There's nothing the Radiant can really do, even if they all grouped up. I mean, what target do they focus? The Storm Spirit, he's so mobile, he's so able to go in and get catches, get picks. Terrorblade, able to lay in the damage. Jakiro, so much control. Same story with Leshrac. These Split Earths have been absurd, and it's going to be a maxed out Split Earth. No points in Diabolic Edict, which is a little bit curious. I guess they have enough push power with the Jakiro, with the Terrorblade, that they feel like they don't need the power push of the Diabolic Edict, but it's just such a great spell. If you're up in tower range, just hit W, and suddenly no one can really go up and contest you. You're melting down those towers so quickly, and it's also a great escape tool. Just being able to run away and have that little Diabolic Edict follow whoever it is, especially up against an invisible Klinks, because Diabolic Edict does reveal invis heroes around you. So if you're running away, you want to be sure there's no skeletons after you. Again, hopefully he picks it up soon. He is level 8, holding off on the Pulse Nova, which is pretty typical of the Shraks that want to go for more of that hard support build, be able to go and land those Split Earths, and having that maxed out Split Earth is super helpful, but again, at the cost of no Pulse Nova, at the cost of no Edict, it's risky. If Leshrac starts dying a couple times in a row, then suddenly he's fallen off as this really great support. And, you know, in terms of net worth, he's sitting one of the highest of the supports, definitely doing his job here, and we'll see how that disparity keeps on going, because, you know, we see the cores on the Dire be the most powerful in the game, but the supports are the poorest. Now Sven, he's in a bit of trouble here. There is going to be that Stormhammer thrown out onto Clint Eastwood, just getting ripped apart by that God Strength. Good golly. And then we bring in the Slark as well. He wants to get something for his troubles here, but may end up just feeding away his life. In fact, it will be so. And then the backlands, oh, Nature's Prophet, he can't afford to go down here, but he might not have much of a choice. There's going to be a Sprout trying to buy himself some time, but in the end, triple kill for the Sven. I mean, that was just an absolute net gain for the Dire there. Almost 1,700 gold swinging in their favor in under 15 minutes in the game. I think Dire may have this one pretty heavily in the bag there. They've got the Mask of Madness on the Sven, so he's not going for the Helm build. The Mask of Madness is quite greedy, actually. I mean, he gets that little extra bit of movement speed, he gets that little extra bit of damage, but being able to take some more damage is pretty risky now. We are going to have Storm Spirit going in, trying to get that zip onto the Clinks, but Clinks, he's invisible. Do they have any sort of reveal? The vision is going to be key this game, like 2 ships passing in a night. Meat Merp just going back on through, getting really important vision of this. Dire needs to step up their sentry game. If we look at what they're sitting on here, no one is sitting on True Sight. They have no way to reveal the Clinks at this point. Alright, now Storm Spirit going on through here. He's picked himself up a Soul Ring as well, so again, a Bloodstone going to be on the menu at some point here. Looking at the overall net worth chart, we are going to have almost a 10,000 net worth lead at 15 minutes in. That is almost insurmountable. I think Dire have very heavily secured this early game. Going into the mid game, they look fantastically strong. Slark, you know, he's picked himself up 1 kill. He has 3 deaths, but for a snowball hero that needs a very successful kills, or rather, he needs a successful laning stage, he needs kills, it's not looking too good for him. And Clinks always has the power to scale here. He looks like he's going to go for that classic Orchid build, not changing it up too much here, but he needs some kills here. He's got nothing. He's looking for farm, but it's already been taken by the Dire. And speaking of the Dire, I mean, we've got Terrorblade here in that Metamorphosis form, just laying in to this tier 2 tower, bringing the Sven as well. So much damage. Nature's Prophet goes in. There's going to be a TP here. They go in. The Stormhammer is dodged out by the Slark. He's looking for something, gets the Pounce on the top of top. He's got that ult. He goes in, sunders the Prophet. Prophet may be dead, will be dead. There's going to be a dominating streak. Oh, they zip in. They rip apart the Fish Boy. That Slithereen is no more. It's going to be 2 down for the Radiant. And this is looking really bad as Meat trying to get something done here. Top, one more hit would have taken him down, but looks like he is going to have to go through, get the creeps. Can they get the TP break? No. Shoes doesn't have any sort of stall coming out. And there will be another kill here onto Clint Eastwood. That's going to be Sven on an unstoppable streak. 6-0-3. He's out of mana, but he is just ablazing here. It looks like Clinks maybe trying to give him a run for his money. They've got decent vision on him. Can they get anything done here? It's really only the Clinks versus the world as Lich. He's sitting back contemplating life. I'm not quite sure what you can really do against this push. He's going to go through, devour a creep, and just back off as a tier 2 may end up going down at under 17 minutes in the game.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That looks like there's going to be no deny attempt as Sven will get that tower cleanly in his favor, so he is just skyrocketed to the top of the net worth chart, followed up by his own Terrorblade, his own Storm Spirit. It's looking so good to be the Dire right now, and, you know, looks like Sven has picked himself up that plate mail, so going for what could be a very early Assault Cuirass. Not quite sure that's the play, actually. I think Mask of Madness off of the Drums of Endurance shows that you're kind of going to be an all-in right clicker. You got to get in there, be fast, do as much damage as possible in as short of a time as possible. And the Assault Cuirass is kind of a slow siege item. It does give you that extra attack speed there with that Moon Shard that's part of the components, but you know, you'd rather see something like a Daedalus, and oh, it looks like we might get another trick off the old Sven. Block, although he's going to go through, he gets pounced up. Can Clint Eastwood live? Sven just a little too distracted, ends up turning, ends up getting killed off by the Slark. That is a huge kill going Slark's way. Almost a 1,300 gold swing from that one pick, and it goes straight to the Slark, which again is so important. He goes straight for the Shadow Amulet, which is going to be super key in having him be sneaky, having him be able to go into these fights, get those backline picks that you may not necessarily be able to get without that invis. And we've already seen how well Dire can deal with invis, and the answer's not so well. Is anyone carrying dust just yet? Looks like Jakiro, no. No one has reveal. No one can do anything about invisibility this game, which is a huge flaw in Dire's playstyle. They've got the damage, they've got the sustainability, they've got the team fights. They don't have, you know, the basic core items they need to have a huge impact against an invis lineup. Alright, now up top, Zeus was able to get a kill on the Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit was just fresh out of mana, no way to get out of that spooky situation, and, you know, it looks like there might be a return kill here as Very Fit and Skinny Guys goes in with a Pulse Nova. Clint Eastwood, one more hit will end up taking him out, so Leshrac, with the last bit of his mana, with the last fraction of his health, secures something there, and that's going to be a pretty big bounty there, almost 500 gold straight for that Space Pony, and we are going to have a nice Ice Path here onto Meat Merp, who is going to end up burning. No, he's alive, and he does end up falling here, and YM going to be going in. There is going to be the Ice Path popping out as Jakiro, he ends up getting picked up by the Slark. Suddenly, Slark is having a huge impact in this game, all just out of nowhere. He started to pick up kills here, 3 to his name now, 4 deaths, but has that Shadow Blade, and that should help him survive just a little bit more. Up top, there was a bit of a skirmish as Lich ends up taking out the Terror Blade. That was down bottom, but, you know, it's Terror Blade dropping here, and that's another big bounty going the way of the Lich. Almost 900 gold straight to that support here, who will most likely go Ags at some point this game. It's such a core item on Lich at this point, just because you get so much use out of those bounces, and at this point, it seems like Dire are 5-manning. They're playing a little bit hectic, they're going in, enjoying their advantage, but if they keep playing so YOLO, it might catch up to them here, just staying there, looking for the TP here, but it's a Clinks. You gotta get some sort of reveal. They bring in the Slark as well. There's gonna be a Nature's Prophet going through. They get the Sprout. He's got no Quelling Blade. Oh, Arteezy, no. He's going to be going on through, and looks like he may end up falling here. He tries to take out the Clinks, but then the Clinks, will he fall to creeps? He's going back on through. He lives with a fraction of his life. The Clinks is alive with what had to be like 2 or 3 HP. What a successful attempt there, and that was just complete overconfidence from the Sven. There's no reason he needed to stay under the tower while he saw that TP coming through. And, you know, if Dire keep playing like that, they're going to lose this desperate advantage that they earned so early on. And now we've got the Clinks here. He's just going to be enjoying himself. He's picking himself up the better part of an Orchid, so should have that up relatively soon. Just needs the little recipe. And that's going to be some nice lockdown for the Storm Spirit. I mean, Storm Spirit is Orchid is Storm Spirit's hard counter, and Orchid is so key on the Clinks that it's just a match made in heaven, and we'll see what Meat Merp's able to do with it. At this point, he still doesn't have any kills to himself, but he's stopped dying. He's realized that Dire don't have any way to deal with this invis, so he's just going in and playing cocky, and he absolutely can. Another Sprout on the mark from the Nature's Prophet, and wow, Slark just laying into him a couple hits, and he is just dead. That's going to be Nature's Prophet picking himself up his first kill of the game. So he's got to feel real good about that one. He's had his hand to Midas. He now has that completed Orchid. There is going to be the Sven laying in some damage, and looks like Slark won't get out of that one. But again, another Sprout just completely holds the Sven in place. TP's out right in front of his nose to taunt him. Sven needs to pick up some sort of Quelling Blade against this Nature's Prophet, or we're going to see a repeat of a very, very sad game. Now, speaking of sad, we've got the Storm Spirit Orchided up. He can't zip out Clinks. That's going to be his first kill. The debut of the Orchid will secure himself a kill onto the Storm Spirit. Almost 500 gold flying straight to him, so that Orchid is half paid for itself already. And, well, we're just going to see Clinks continue to have an impact here. So looking at the overall net worth, we saw it dip down to almost 14,000 at 17 minutes in the game, which is completely insurmountable. That's, you know, just GG territory right there, but I mean, we're back up to heading towards an even split. And now Sven will find himself a kill. There's going to be 2 dead. Slark goes down, Nature's Prophet goes down, so at least getting something for their efforts here, but it's not huge. XP is pretty large there, but the gold change isn't absolutely monstrous, because again, Nature's Prophet isn't sitting on too much that net worth chunk in terms of the global game. Now, overall XP, it's actually quite close. It was in the Radiant's favor for a while, again, just because of that Death Ball. That nice majority team wipe did get the Dire swinging in their favor. Those couple of towers felt nice, but we'll see how this game is going to go forward here, because it seemed like Dire had this one completely in the bag, but a couple overextensions here, a couple miscommunications, grouping up as 5 is costing them experience, costing them farm, and we'll see how the Radiant are able to capitalize off of that. If they can sit back and hold this, they definitely have a shot. But you're going up against a pusher like Terrorblade that is just so eager to get in, get towers. He's sitting in the jungle right now, which might not be the most effective use of his time. We are going to have the Slark going in, lay it in, gets the pounce, but he just might be up a creek without a paddle. But oh, the Lich ult doing some serious work. Meat Merp going from downtown, laying in the damage, double kill for him. There's going to be a good job trying to run away, but, well, good job on trying. He just completely fell to the deck. It's going to be an 0 for 3. Radiant, they got their shit together. They grouped up. They got it done. In the end, that's going to be almost a 3k gold swing, almost a 4,500 XP swing. That is completely game-changing. I'd say we're going to be almost right back to 0 pretty soon. Now Terrorblade here, he's sitting back, he's doing Ancients, but really should be applying at least a little bit of pressure to these lanes. That's going to keep Radiant on their toes, because for now, Radiant, they've got that freedom to move about the country here. They're sitting back, Meat Merp going back on through, devouring up a nice chunk of HP. He's got that Orchid, he's got almost 2k gold to work with. We'll see what he wants to pick up next.
Are fortified.
As Storm Spirit mid has picked up his Bloodstone. He's really enjoying that. There is going to be a Yules over here. We've got Shoes sitting back, fighting for his life. They bring in the Nature's Prophet. He's TPing back on through now. Jakiro was the aggressor at one point, may be the aggressee as he gets pounced, he gets stuck, he's trying to breathe some fire but just gets orchided up, slapped down, no chance to react. And now Slark, he's on a roll here. He's got 4, 5, and 5, so yeah, his death score is a bit high, but he's starting that snowball a little bit late. You know, a little bit less momentum than you usually have on a Slark, but no doubt he can definitely take this late game if he continues the streak. Now over here, again, still no detection. Leshrac, he's picked himself up a Rod of Atos to try to get that slow, but you gotta have Reveal. I mean, he does have 3 points in the Diabolic Edict, which will reveal Invis heroes, but there's still no way to lock him down once you got that little bit of information on where they're at. They're going to be going on through Radiant looking for a push here. They've got the Trance. They've got the raw damage from the Slark who, you know, he's not hitting like an absolute machine gun just yet, but he's got that Shadow Blade. He's got the Mithril Hammer, making some of a Black King Bar, just waiting on an Ochre Club. 500 more gold, and you've got an almost unkillable Fish Boy. Now there's going to be a zip in. He gets the Electric Vortex onto Shoes. TP out from MYM, will get out safely. And now Shoes might be the sacrificial lamb here, will end up dropping down, but again, it's a support. You get your Prophet out, you get your Slark out, and you know, no real loss overall. We are going to have Slark going in, looking for a kill on Leshrac. Can Leshrac even react to this? Gets the Split Earth off, and not even going to matter here as Slark is just A-okay, sitting back enjoying his Ochre Club that he just picked up. Zip all the way in. They're looking for something here, but not able to get the Electric Vortex. And looks like there is going to be a Yules here onto the Zeus. He's trying to get away for the best of his life. Gets that Force Staff off. Very nice plays there. Fast fingers from Clint Eastwood. He's backing off. He's running out, and that was a pretty costly gank from the Dire. They used up a lot of resources, a lot of ultis, and got pretty much nothing. Now Storm Spirit has to go refresh his mana pool at some point. There is going to be a little bit of wailing on the back door here as Sven able to pick up a tier 3 tower. Now will he pay with his life? They're going to be going back on through. He's going to be trying to get something done here, but he's silenced up. He's going to get pounced down. Prophet secures another kill, so Sven, a tier 3 for your life. Not sure if that's worth, man. There was really no way to get out. He was all in for that. And, you know, the Sven, as this frontline battle tank, the potential to scale so hard, can't keep throwing away his life like that. Sure, if it's a support, if it's a Beastmaster with Necros, if it's a Nature's Prophet with Treant Army, yeah, you can offer that sacrifice, but Sven's a position 1 and hasn't really been playing as such. Alright, so Prophet here, his item build has been pretty interesting. Now he picks up that Maelstrom, so I love the fact that he opted to go Orchid first. I mean, it's not super typical on Prophets, definitely a situational thing, but in this game it is perfect. We've seen how much work the Orchid does, and having 2 on your team is just another tool to keep the Terrorblade locked down, keep the Storm locked down, keep the Sven locked down, and so far that's been very successful for the Radiant. In terms of overall gold here, taking a look at the chart, what a deep V this has been, but we are going to be approaching 0 territory very soon. I've got the Clinks looking for his next target here, going on to top, but again, top has that ulti at the ready. Oh, very early use of the Sunder. That was just a really awkward misplay there from top. I mean, wait just a little bit more and Sunder away most of your health, and that's going to be a kill on the Clinks, but in the end, their lack of vision cost them, and they bring in the Slark, who's also got that Shadow Blade. Looks like everyone from the Dire is going to be pinging away, but Dire, they have not bought a lick of detection this game. Finally, they've got a Dust on Leshrac, but if Leshrac's nowhere around to help you, you're kind of screwed. Now, it looks like Leshrac does have Dust, but doesn't even know that Meat Merp is there. Gonna get laid in. The Strafe is popped out. But in the end, not gonna be enough, as there is gonna be a Dust here. Jakiro trying to go through, trying to get the reveal. Gonna be quite off the mark, but pops down a Sentry Ward. So good on you, Dragons, for finally picking up some vision. We'll see if they can keep this up, as looks like the Radiant are gonna continue to go for these Invis items. Over here, we've got the Prophet sitting back. He's got almost 2k gold. So, we'll see what he wants to go for next here. And there's going to be Meat Marp sitting here at the Ancient Pit. Nice pounce here onto Jakiro. Jakiro goes down, and that was a Dragon sitting on Sentry Wards, sitting on Dust. Now they have less reveal going into this fight. They gotta know that Meat Marp is around somewhere. God's Strength is Sven is an ambitious target here. There's gonna be a Stormhammer here onto Shoes. Does Shoes have ult? He does. Can he get it off here? He's locked down. No chance to react. Pounce back through. There's a Dust. from Leshrac, but very fit and skinny guy tries to TP out, will not be successful, gives his life on the backlines. We are going to have Meatmerp just going back on through, laying in the damage. God's Strength is over here on the backlines. Terrorblade was able to get the pick onto Nature's Prophet. We're looking for Slark here. He's just trying to man up, uses his BKB charge. That is, again, a little bit of panic going through, but top has no more Sunder, and Clint Eastwood gets out with a scratch of his life left. And that's scary here, but that was Slark's first BKB charge used for just a fraction of a second. I mean, that panic was definitely not worth it. You really gotta save that 10-second BKB for when you can go in, fight, use its full duration, so hopefully that doesn't end up costing him too much, because again, you can't just rebuy BKB to refresh its charges. When it's gone, and we could be in for a long one here. So sitting back, looking at Jakira's items here, he's picked up that Eul's. We've seen it used a couple times this game already. Focusing on detection now, picks up another stack of observers, and Sentry is definitely a good play from the dragon. And he's not super rich here, sitting on the bottom of the net worth chart. Not really much he can do. We are going to have Meatmerp again going back on through, but Jakira can carry all the detection in the world that he wants to. If they can't actually get the reveal on these heroes, oh, Meatmerp walks underneath that sentry ward as, oh, he's looking for something here. Gets a cheeky play, goes in for the bounty, but they are going to bring in Shoes. Now Shoes looking for something here, has that ulti at the ready. They bring in the Nature's Prophet. They're laying in as a God Strength Sven sits there and takes it. He's trapped in the Sprout. He's trapped in the grave. That's going to be Sven's 6th death this game, rather 5th, but you know, as a position 1, you just can't afford that. You can't afford to make those plays without your supports. Alright, Eul's up. They're going to get the Ice Path down, leap away, but still stuck in the Frosty Glacier there from the Slark. But Slark has really made an impact this game. Picking up the BKB, picking up the Shadow Blade, I think is the correct itemization here. Maybe at some point he goes for the Abyssal just to make sure you get the lockdown. I don't think we're going to see another Orchid. I think that would just be a little bit of overkill, but again, Slark has a lot of freedom with his item build now. He's got those 7 kills rolling in for himself, and again, Slark, he doesn't have the best comeback mechanics in the game, but somehow this guy's making it work. If we look at the Clinks here, it looks like he is going to be going straight for the Scotty, wants that unique attack modifier, and just going to be prepared to get it within the next minute or so. He's laying into the tower here. They're going to be bringing in top. He's going to go on through, ends up popping in, gets that reflection going through, but I don't think this Clinks is scared whatsoever. They're going to zip in the Storm Spirit. He's going to get locked down under tower. Can Clinks invis his way out of this one? Looks like he will get dusted, will get killed off. So it looks like he does get punished there for his greed on the back lines. Radiant, they're going back on through. They've got Clint Eastwood just hitting W, taking out these wards that Jakiro has worked so hard on. So again, I think Radiant just have the superior vision game by far. No observers out on the map, spared this one, or rather the sentry out from the Dire, but again, no more ward vision coming out as, okay, we've got the Slark going back on through, gets Eul's up, not quite sure what he expected. Gonna be going on through, pops into his ulti there, and there's gonna be, oh, a nice Ice Blast, bouncing every which way, ends up nuking into the creeps and eating up a lot of its damage, but that was just a fantastic play. Definitely a great zoning play from the Lich. Now Lich goes in, that self-Eul's buying himself some time. There's gonna be a Storm Hammer going back on through. God Strength Sven laying in so much damage here. They end up dropping down the Zeus, dropping down the Clinks, but Sven, he's so low. Can he end up living through this? One final blast from the Lich will take him out. And overall, dropping a support and your position 1, you have to trade for your mid and your position 1, but it's not detrimental there. The Radiant, they could have done so much worse, and now they are offering a bunch of split push up as Nature's Prophet brings in the Treant army, gonna do some damage to this top tower, reminiscent of Bulldog's playstyle, just absolutely making space. Even if his team drops a complete team fight, just go in and get something out of it, get some push, force one rotation, and you can kind of consider that a one fight. You control the positioning, you're on the upper hand here as the Prophet. Now over here, we've got the Leshrac here. He did pick up that very early A test. Now it looks like he's going for a BKB, which is incredibly greedy. We saw Leshrac being so efficient at playing that hard support role with the Sven in the laning stage, but maybe he's just abandoning that and going full YOLO. I mean, we could see something crazy here. Let's go full ganky Leshrac, Octarine, Shadow Blade. It could happen. I really don't think that's going to be the play. Now Terrorblade here has that completed Scotty, so kind of outdoing Clinks just a small amount in terms of his itemization. The net worth is just superb for this guy. Top of the chart there, almost 18,000 100,000 net worth at 33 minutes in. It's not ideal. He has had a couple of setbacks in the last couple of moments here, and speaking of setbacks here, it looks like there's going to be a pounce here. Jakiro, does he have time to react for this? Goes for the self. Yule's trying to live. Looks like he will end up going through, but oh, the silence from the Clinks! Oh, what a fantastic play, and they bring in the Zeus, who has that completed Ether Lens, just lightning bolting from afar. Is going to go through and pop that ulti. Not going to secure many more kills on that one, but at least getting some scouting vision of what's going on. Now mid lane, they could be looking for the Sven here. Sven's had some trouble. He's now farming up under his own tier 2 and already feeling the pressure here. It seems like every time he steps up past his base, he's the target, and rightfully so. It's going to be top going 1v1 with a Lich. Surprised that not more damage is coming out of this. They're bringing the Sven, but do they know that the Clinks is nearby? Do they know that the Slark's nearby? They end up popping through. There's going to be the mech Shoes. Goes in with the self-fuels. They get the pounce. The Slark doing the damage here. Shoes ends up falling, but not before he gets off a fantastic ult. Bouncing around. Looks like it will be eaten up by top. Going back through the neutral creeps. And that's where it's going to end there. As a good job, Lim. Not going to be fallen just yet, but that was a spooky engage. They ended up dropping the Lich, but Dire are very much on their toes. That wasn't necessarily a free kill. Sven has to go back to base. He has picked himself up a Demon Edge, so I'm assuming he's going to be going for that Daedalus like we talked about, just getting those monstrous right clicks, those cleaves, those crits for days. Very surprised if we see anything other than that, as there is no evasion currently on the side of the Radiant, so not exactly going to be looking for that MKB, and it is way early to build up a Rapier unless you're kind of dumb, but we'll have to see what the Sven wants to go for. As he's sitting back, grabs up that Void Stone, so we're going to see what he's going to do with that next. Could be going in for that Eul's Scepter if he wants another one of those at his disposal. And Jakiro, speaking of Eul's, has been so successful with that, but he's still bottom of the charts. He's got the Sentry Wards, he's got the Dust of Appearance, but again, if he's not with his team when they need to get those picks, you're in some trouble there. There's going to be the Eul's out from the Storm's Burn. He's looking for something there. That was a self-Eul's to kind of tick off the duration of the silence, but Nature's Prophet in the end still ends up winning that fight just because he isn't phased. He gets through, he clears out the wave, he gets his Treants out, he's pushing the wave and forcing rotation from the Dire once again, so it's very much Prophet versus the world at this point. He's kind of going for that team fighty build, but at the same time it's a very self-sustaining build. He doesn't need his team nearby to get stuff done. Now down bottom, we do have that Stormhammer being dodged out by that Shadow Blade. Top, he's going in, he's picked his own target, but is it too ambitious here? He's getting pounced out, he's getting silenced up, he pops the BKB, gets a nice Sunder here, but oh, the regen there is going to be enough there. The Slark, he's doing his best, and now bouncing Chain Frost. Oh, Sven just gets dunked. As Lashraki ends up getting the pick on the Prophet up top. It does take a 2-man rotation, but again, space created for Radiant to go in and get a much needed pick on that Sven. And that's another death for Sven. Now, he's going to be up to 7. So a fitting number there for the Sven, but he can't keep going down like that. He can't keep going one versus the world. He's not that big, and he's got to anticipate that if he jumps in a Radiant Hero, there's more at the ready, because so far these Shadow Blade uses on the Slark, the Clinks going in with that Shadow Walk on the back lines has been completely on point. They're getting whatever they need to get done, and even though the Prophet dies, definitely still a net gain. He makes space, he pushes up the lane, he forces rotations, and trading for his Sven is completely fine. A Terrorblade may just be the last big hope of the Dire. We saw at one point they were all 3 cores sitting on top of the chart, but it's only top holding on to that top slot, and we'll see if he can hold on to it for much longer here, as, you know, this Clinks really might be giving him a run for his money. Nature's Prophet as well has made so much space, found so much around the map. There's going to be a nice zip in. Do they have any sort of detection here? They get the nice zip in onto Clint Eastwood, but there's a silence. There's going to be a Eul's to try to dispel that. The Macropyre doing some serious work. Clint Eastwood going to be in some trouble. Will end up dropping, being the first casualty here. He doesn't have his ulti, so it's not a huge casualty. Oh, nice Eul's from the Lich, buying himself some time. He does end up going down, but at least drawing the focus away from his cores. The Slark is alive, the Prophet's alive, the Clinks is alive, so if Radiant had to drop 2 heroes, I guess the Zeus and the Lich are the ones you want to drop. Now Meat Marp, does he try to turn on this? He's super ambitious. He could get a pick off, but going up against all 5 might not be something he's looking to do. And now because there's no tier 2s, because of that very early aggression from the Dire, this could end up being a tier 3 successful push. You've got Terrorblade here still sitting with a decent chunk of time on that Metamorphosis. Could get a couple tower hits off if he wants to, and that will be the play. Liquid Fire melting that thing down. Look at it go. And there is going to be the Fortify popped out from the Radiant. They're looking to contest this, but who is their target? There's just too much to do and not enough time, as one hit from Meatmurp reveals himself. He goes and he's going to get silenced up. There's going to be a Eul's to dispel the silence. We'll see what's going to happen here as you've got the Slark in his ultimate form. He's going to get stunned up. He's going to get frozen up. But oh, the Sven could end up dropping again. He does end up going down. Now top goes through. Nice Sunder on him. It's going to be a BKB fight. Who's going to win here? They do end up dropping the Slark. Now Meatmurp going to be next on the menu. They're looking for more, but top, he's getting low. He doesn't have any tools to get out of this. A Sprout is going to be holding Meatmurp in place. Now there's going to be a bounce around. Very fit and skinny guy gets dunked down. Pounce off the mark. There's going to be a Eul's from the Jakiro, but it may end up costing him his life. It will cost him his life as Clint Eastwood, he gets the time to run in, go in, nuke down with the lightning bolt, and this is looking good for the Radiant. They ended up losing a couple heroes there, but in the end they end up dropping 4 on the side of the Dire. That teamfight recap did not catch all the action there, but in terms of overall gold, we're going to be sitting slightly in Radiant's favor at this point. Now up top, we've got the Lord of the Split Push coming back on through his Treants die, but you've got the full attention of Storm Spirit now focused on this Nature's Prophet while everyone else is farming up, feeling safe to push the lanes. You've got the Clinks now sitting on that completed Scotty. He's got a Chrysalis, could be going for a Daedalus next, and you know, he's got a decent sum of gold. Now we're going to see, okay, Storm Spirit trying to 1v1 a Prophet, and a Prophet at this point with a completed AC, going to be picking up a BKB soon. That's going to get a more and more difficult. Now at 40 minutes in the game, we're taking over to that late game point, and this is a game that could go on forever here. We see how fast Dire are able to siege once they get the opportunity, but Radiant, they're doing such a good job at just not giving away those easy opportunities anymore. They learned their lesson in the laning phase, and now picking up the final tier 2, we're on pretty even territory. Dire, they do have a couple more tier 3s taken care of, top and bottom, but that's nothing that the Radiant can't shred through in just a couple of moments. Now up top, Prophet, he's going to be able to finish that BKB whenever he'd like to, just picking up that Ogre Club. Okay, there is going to be a sacrifice here going on to Meatmurp. I think they get the kill here. I don't think there's any way he gets away. He just gets junked down. Everything that Dire had, they threw it at him, and well, in the end, that will be a pretty successful bounty. Almost 500 gold for the Clinks' head, but not the biggest thing in the world there. And again, you've got Prophet getting stuff done with the split push, drawing the full attention of the Leshrac to go in and clean that out. Now, luckily for the Dire, Leshrac does clean out these Treants super, super effectively. And if it does come down to just dealing with Mega Creeps, I think of all the potential lineups, Dire have one of the best to stand up against those creeps, but there's only so long they can deal with that. Sven's Cleave, Leshrac's Edict, Leshrac's E. There's only so much you can do. Now up top, we've got a 1v1 situation going there. There's going to be a Sprout and a TP out, so Prophet was not able to go in and stop that TP this time, and there is going to be a Roche attempt coming out from the Dire, and we see the Roche pit is slightly moved, so Roshan's health bar is at his nose, and in the end, looks like Storm Spirit does grab up that Aegis of the Immortal, able to zip in and be a little bit more aggressive here. We're going to see if Shoes gets punished, or if he's able to walk back to his base safely. Looks like safety is key here, but again, Nature's Prophet getting all the freedom in the world. He surpasses top on the top of that net worth slot, and he's picked up his BKB, full charges ready to go on that. Almost 3k more gold on top of the finished BKB. This guy is absurd. He gives no bothers that Leshrac is there trying to defend. He's just sitting in, laying in the slow siege himself, but will he have to rotate back to help his team? One Sprout on the Sven is going to be all it takes to really slow down this guy, and he can't afford to die again. Another Sprout kill may just kill all the morale of the Dire. There's going to be a zip in. They got the Scotty here. Shoes in some trouble. He's going to go, gets the silence up onto the Storm. There's going to be a double Eul's up. Tornadoes for days. Who's going to fall first? Zip it from the Storm. He's all in for this one. Can he pick off the Lich? He's going to pop his Aegis there. Nice Sunder from top, but it's only going to buy him some more time. He's got no more tools to live through this. He does end up falling. Storm Spirit comes back from that death with the Aegis, full health, full mana, but he's zipping right on out. They drop the Lich, but they get 3 in return. And according to Shoes, this is fine. This is completely fine. That is a worthwhile trade any day. Almost 1,700 gold. And a successful defense. They drop another tier 3. So there are exposed racks on all sides. Terrorblade is a great split pusher, but not from the grave. There's only so much he can do when he continues to dive deep and his team just isn't there to follow up. You know, Slark is sitting, he starts to really snowball. I had such strong doubts about him in that laning phase, but, you know, you look at his items here, he's picked up that ultimate orb, so could be going for another Scotty, not quite sure that's entirely needed with the Clinks, but, you know, never too much slow. Meat Merp could be in some trouble. I guess he just overcommitted a little bit, and he will pay the price for his crimes, almost 650 gold going the way of the Storm Spirit, and that's really not the hero you want to give gold to, because, you know, you give that guy a Octarine core, you give him, you know, a Hex. He's definitely someone that can contest you late game. But, you know, speaking of a slow push, late game, we've got the Prophet doing his rat thing. He's going to force out the Sven's attention. And that means less focus down mid. Sven's not able to go through and TP with his team. He doesn't have those Boots of Travels. In fact, he's got a very fragmented item build. It seems like, you know, he starts something and then picks up the next piece of something and picks up the next piece. He does have that just casual Demon Edge sitting in his inventory, and it's not the most cost-effective thing for the damage. He's going to go for that BKB, which I think is super necessary, but, you know, that... It's okay. I think Sven could have, you know, one or two more big items in terms of net worth. He's sitting 5th on the chart, middle of the road. Nothing too spectacular here. Terrorblade really putting in the hours for the Dire. There's going to be a BKB. I've got BKBs for days coming out. It's everyone wants that magic immunity. Terrorblade ends up falling again. He was not able to go through and sunder himself out that time. He died with the Sunder on cooldown. And we are going to have Very Fit and Skinny die. He lands the Split Earth. But there's going to be an immediate follow-up kill from the Slark, so it's going to be a double kill going his way. 11, 17, and 15. He has come back from a desolate place and just absolutely ripping through the Dire. And the Dire, they've got to be panicking now in terms of net worth. This slow and steady descent up from that terrifying early game. Radiant definitely have this in their grasp if they can go through and turn the kills into objectives. That's going to be the big thing is, yeah, they can get these pickoffs. They can stop the Terrorblade clean in his tracks. They can take care of the Sven whenever he pushes up too far, but can they go through? Can they group up? Can they take a Rax of their own? Because you've been having the Prophet slow siege this tower for the last 15 minutes, but hasn't made a whole lot of progress. He's keeping the lane pushed out, forcing Dire's attention, but they need objectives. Now, with a full lane of super creeps in this mid, they're really going to have to get some sort of exchange. Oh, there's going to be an immediate God Strength here, so both ultis popped up from the big guys. We'll see what's going to go down here as Slark reveals himself once again. Is there another Stormhammer to follow up? Sven, he's sitting there, pops the BKB, leap back on through. They've got the Storm Spirit just ripping apart Meat Merp. He wants to sit back, wants to do the damage. They're bringing Clint Eastwood. Now we're going to see, oh, double man Stormhammer to get the Hex. There's this Hex from the Storm. And that's going to be pretty dangerous here. Although from the back lines, Meat Merp still doing some good damage here as they're going to lose the Sven once again. Can they get the kill onto the Storm? They get the latch. He tries to zip away, but it's going to be a mega kill streak coming out from both the Zeus and the Slark. There's going to be a buyback from the Sven. He doesn't want to go down this easily. Looks like everyone on the Radiant is going to be pretty low. There's going to be a Yule's up. Can they land the Split Earth? They do land the Split Earth. They bring in the damage there. The Dual Breath coming out. Jakiro, though, gets sliced apart by Meat Merp. Now, we are going to have some sort of reveal here onto the Clinks. Do they get any sort of vision? Oh, the Sven! That's a dieback! 100 seconds, no Sven. Buyback on the Leshrac, but it's only a Space Pony. There's not much you can do on his own. You've got the Terrorblade here sitting so cautiously. I mean, there's not a whole lot he can do. He wasted his buyback in that last fight as well. Now, sitting back, watching his base burn, watching this lane push. He wants so desperately to do something. The Metamorphosis has some good time left on it, but oh, there's a Sprout again. Goes in with that BKB. Just has to sit there and take it. He's huge, but he's just dying. There's not much he can do. The Split Earth will end up saving the life of the Terrorblade, but it looks like that's going to be a dieback from Leshrac as well. Top. He's melting. Can he take out the Slark with him? They will get the Slark down. Clint Eastwood now 1v1ing a Terrorblade. I don't think that's a good proposition. Clint Eastwood does end up dropping to the Storm Spirit, zipping back on through with that Shiva's Guard. So in the end, buyback from the Terrorblade did end up holding the tier 3, and you know, again, that's one of the big weaknesses of Radiant's lineup is they can get kills. They have shown that they have no problem taking on Dire's aggression, but they can't turn that into objectives. They can't push out their lanes that quickly. They can't get racks that quickly. They can't push high ground, and in the end of the day, it's just going to be whose Ancient goes down first, and it's looking good for Dire still, although Radiant have a nice advantage in terms of net worth. Dire can push so much more effectively than Radiant can. Now in terms of net worth here, we have got a top of the net worth being led up by the Nature's Prophet, who's still going off doing his own thing. It's a Prophet versus the world. He has picked up the Daedalus. He's got another 3k gold to work with. We'll see what he wants to get done here. Could go for those Boots of Travels if he wants Ultra TPs, just to be able to hop around the map every which way. Could go for a Refresher, could go for an Aghanim if he wants to get the most out of that Wrath of Nature, and we'll have to see. The Fortify is going to be spent. There's going to be a very, very ambitious TP in from the Nature's Prophet. I think that was a bit of a mistake. He's got to know that the Hex is online. They might get the kill on the Jakiro. In fact, they will get the kill on Jakiro. I'm surprised Prophet's alive. Storm Spirit still has a decent mana pool and will end up zipping to safety. That's going to be the end of the fight here as, well, it's kind of a bloodbath on both sides.
Invisibility.
Everyone's dropping here. The kill score relatively even for the amount of aggression that's been thrown back and forth. No team has pulled a huge, huge lead in terms of who's able to take off who. And we are going to have the golds, again, very heavily in favor of the Radiant now. And that means there's big items coming out for the supports, for the cores, but in terms of distribution, I think Dire are still quite on point. You've got the Nature's Prophet on the side of the Radiant putting in a lot of work, and yeah, he hits hard. He's able to push lanes, but he doesn't offer a whole lot in terms of defense, so having a huge chunk of net worth on him is not detrimental to go up against, and well, Terrorblade keeping up here, keeping pace for him, could end up surpassing him with a couple of key kills, a couple of nice bounties going his way, and he has picked himself up a Diffusal Blade and wants to be able to purge off anything yucky that goes his way, and we'll see if he's able to do so. He has picked up a Satanic as well, so going for that Ultra, just run at you, fight, live strat, and we'll see how effectively it's going to be, because, you know, he's tried to get off that Sunder a couple of times but been silenced up and wasn't able to do so. We'll see if the Satanic buys him enough time to get off that Sunder in these fights, because dying with Sunder on cooldown, or rather off cooldown, is just gotta be demoralizing. Now Meat Merp sitting here, he's going to be picking up 2k gold for himself. He could get punished here. There's going to be the Yule's up, there's going to be the Macropyre Ice Path. They are locking this Clinks in place. Is there any follow-up though? They get the dust here. He's got nothing to purge it off. They bring in the rest of the Dire, but they're all following up in train-like fashion. They don't have a blink on the Sven, which, you know, he needs that mobility. He needs a blink, a Shadow Blade, someone to force-staff him around. There is going to be another dust committed, so 4 Dire heroes end up taking up the Clinks. Space created, I guess, for the rest of the Radiant, but now that sets up Dire to go through, push out this lane, and push in this set of racks, because there's no more tier 3s for the Radiant. They've got to deal with perhaps going up against another lane of super creeps, which is not ideal. Dire, they've got a fantastic lineup for going up against Megas. Radiant, well, not so much. They've got very single target damage, not a whole lot of wave clear. And speaking of waves, we've got one coming up. Nature's Prophet pushing in the best he can. Jakiro, formidable strength to defend against that. Now they bring in the Shiva's Guard. They're going to go through. They get another Hex. There's going to be that Yule's going back on through, buying some time, but in the end, I don't think it's enough. Nature's Prophet tries to man up BKBs, but it's not going to be enough. As okay, a second set of racks could end up going down as the Slark, he's biting off more than he can chew. They lose the full set of racks. Sven, he's still God Strength up. Slark wants to get something for his trouble. He's going up against. There will be a kill on Leshrac. In the back lines, there's going to be a killing spree as Terrorblade takes out the Zeus, and now, oh, Slark gets in trouble here, leaves himself away, but will Top let himself go so easily? The mirror's, mirror reflection or whatever it is, does some damage there in Shoes. Well, he gets away safely, but that's going to be a Terrorblade getting exactly what he wants. The Sven drops again. That's his 12th death this game. You can't afford to let him go down that much, but you've got a Terrorblade there to pick up the slack. You've got the Storm Spirit there with proper itemization. Now he's got that Scythe of Ice and showing it off with style. Has 4,100 gold at his disposal. Should see an Octarine out of him very shortly. And, well, we'll see what's going to happen here as the Dire, you know, unexpected cores, unexpected supports. As Sven, he's kind of trickled off here. He was sitting 7th, 6th on the net worth chart now, and I mean, the Zeus also on the side of the Radiant just hasn't had a huge impact, but this Prophet is just carrying the hardest that he can. He does end up going down over here. Again, the Hex from the Storm Spirit proving too much. We'll see what he's able to do to deal with that. As Meat Merp, oh, could be in some trouble here. He gets revealed. There's going to be a refresher here, so 2 Zeus ultis. Again, barely tickling. They got to have some sort of veil or something to amplify that damage. There's the Thunder! Top finally gets it off. He's back to full health. They're going to go in. Will they get the kill onto the Clinks? It looks like they want to take out someone with him. Storm Spirit does end up dropping the Lich ulti. And that's going to be Meat Merp fighting with the last fraction of his life. Top, he's stuck. There's nothing he can do about this. The Satanic is on cooldown. And he ends up dropping to the Clinks. What was once a target is now the killer as he ends up living through all that damage. Not end up forcing a buyback. That's going to be that completed Daedalus. He's got the Boots of Travel. He's got his full kit whenever he's ready to go through and push. But, man, I just don't know if the Radiant have the tools to turn these kills, turn these wipes into objectives. That's going to be a second Roche attempt coming out from the Dire. Radiant, it seems like they're keen on this one. They bring in 2 heavy damage dealers. There's going to be that sentry ward revealing the fact that Lynx is nearby. Can they go through? Can they contest this Nature's Prophet TPing in? They've got to be at least a little bit aware of this. Dire, what are you doing there? Just sitting there and taking it as they pop out the God Strength here. And yeah, I mean, they're just ripping this apart. Surprised Jirokiro's still alive, but not going to be for long. They've got another leap on the Slark in just a couple of moments. He goes through, he gets the pounce, the God Strength, it's just not going to be enough. He's stuck in the Sprout for like the zillionth time this game, just sitting there, contemplating death, thinking about those last thoughts, those childhood memories, and will be falling back to base for the 13th time. Sven, pick up a goddamn Quelling Blade, please. Slark sitting there. Again, just talking about the wave clear here, it's taken him so long to deal with this one wave of creeps that, you know, it takes the rest of his team to come back through. The Prophet does have good itemization to deal with these super creeps coming back on through, but now with 2 lanes of them, it can't just be Prophet versus the world. They're going to go through the trick. Going to try to get a middle lane of Rax. Oh, nice Yules up from the Storm Spirit, buying himself some time, zipping back on out. That's going to be well, Storm Spirit going in. Will end up taking a silence right to the face, just buying time for this tier 2, rather this tier 3 to go down. They're focusing Rax. They will be able to secure a lane of Rax. So Radiant at least going to face up even lanes again in the mid. There's going to be a buyback from the Sven, though. That was, I believe, a buyback that wasn't that much on cooldown. He probably had no more than 20 seconds left on his death timer, so, well, it's, well, certainly a play. Let's TP back down as they do not want to give up Mega Creeps. It's down to this final Rax here. Can they keep this Rax alive? That's going to be the question. If Radiant drop that, I don't know if they hold against Mega Creeps. Mega Creeps comebacks are extremely rare. I believe in professional play it's like a 97% win rate if you Mega Creeps the other team. There's really no room for comeback potential, and especially not with Radiant's lineup. You know, on the teams that have come back from Mega Creeps in the pro scene, it's usually in one magnificent fight right after the Rax is taken, so like one huge base brawl where, yeah, the Dire ends up getting the full lane of Rax, but the Radiant end up wiping them, pushing down, getting the tier 4s, getting the Ancient, and again, Radiant just don't have the most efficient tower push. They don't have ACs, aside from the one on Nature's Prophet. They don't have any Desolators, they don't have any negative armor. Oh, you've got a fight breaking out here. They go through, they get the pig, they get the pull onto the Slark. Can he get away from this? He's trying to live, he will end up falling. He does have buyback if needed. There's going to be big damage coming out from the Radiant. They're trying to go through. The Storm Spirit does end up dying. That's a double kill for the Lich. That ulti has done so much work. Now Top sitting there trying to get ready here. He does have the Satanic off cooldown, or rather on cooldown, Sunder as well. They're going to get the kill on the Prophet. Now Meat Merp going to be next on the menu, going back on through the lifesteal, proving too much. Do they have any more vision here? I don't think they do, but on the back line, Sven, once again, going down. God Strength means nothing to this Slark. He buys back, he secures himself a kill, so that buyback already paying for himself, and looks like there will be a clean escape from the Terrorblade. He's not going to go down here, but that's 4 dead for only 2 buybacks and a kill, which, you know, it's a lot of missing gold there. You see that was a 3k gold deficit for the fight, but just getting down these heroes, making sure they're not there to push, not there to cause trouble, not there to get objectives, is worthwhile in the end. In terms of overall net worth, look at this spike. We are just ping-ponging here, but 12,000 in favor of the Radiant tells the story. Alright, now bringing in the damage here. Again, it just takes them a lot longer to get through a wave than it would if they had a Terrorblade on their team, but unfortunately Top, he's on the defending side here, and Terrorblade high ground defense is not ideal. He's got great offense, but in the end just sits there and gets sprouted up. Him and the Sven gotta form like a support group for victims of unnecessary sprouting, because that has just been mean all game. There's gonna be a dual breath, there's gonna be a zip in, but the Rack's already down, and it looks like he's not able to get off the Hex. There's gonna be a nice Yules up, another sprout. I mean, this guy's just a bully at this point. He is gonna get finally charged for his crimes as he goes through. Most of his health is gone. Top, he's going back on through. He gets bashed up though. Will he live? He goes through. He wants to get the Sunder. He's in the attack animation of the Sunder, but ends up dropping. Now he does have buyback if he needs it, but it's super costly, and at this point I think Radiant might just have it, but they are going to choose to back off here. They're not going in ultra ambitious. They are going to bring in Nature's Prophet to go pick off the small buildings. I guess there's going to be a Yules up. They do have that salve going through, as they are going to be able to pick off the Prophet. So a little bit of over-aggression here. Did Radiant overstay their welcome? They go back on through. They get the Hex onto Clint Eastwood. Looks like they will get the tether onto the Storm Spirit, but he's able to go through. He's able to live through this. He gets the pull onto Clint Eastwood. There's going to be an Ice Path as well. He gets 2. Jakiro's trying with all his might to get this done. Jakiro's so squishy, but will end up living through that, trading for a Zeus. Now neither Prophet or Zeus have buyback, so this could be a pretty decent window for the Dire to get something done. Gotta love that bug where it's just ball lightning for days. But yeah, in the end, almost a 3,200 gold change in favor of the Dire. They didn't really have to spend buybacks for that fight, and they forced out a lot of important kills. So once again, back to a stalemate as, you know, you've got some damage dealers alive on the Radiant, you've got the Slark, you've got the Clinks, but neither one wants to take a fight. Well, you know, their big CC people are in the base, are unable to fight, and, you know, Terrorblade, he'll be back up decently soon. Not the longest respawn timer in the world on him. The third Roshan is hovering, again, because of the fact that this is a 6.86 game. The map changes have made for some interesting bugs. Leshrac going back on through that Edict, putting in work there, melting down the big stone beast. And Roshan this time does have Aegis, as well as Cheese.
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
So, was Cheese picked up? Or was that only second Rosh? That may have only been second Rosh, and I'm really not good at counting. And yeah, that is actually the play, so ignore what I'm saying, I'm tired and stupid. But, we'll see. As, you know, it's gonna come down to one big fight and then pushing off the back of this. Dire have now found themselves their momentum to go in and get this done, but Radiant, they found themselves the momentum to go in and turn those kills into objectives, so we'll see what's going to happen here. Is the Mega Creeps going to be too much? They've got backdoor protection now broken. They're looking for the kill into Meatmurph. They get the Stormhammer. They're locking him down. Clinks, he cannot afford to go down here. He's still alive somehow. There's going to be Yules is up. There's going to be Slark coming back in for the fight, looking for the kill here. They're looking for something to get the Ice Path off at the Nolan, and it's going to be everyone else just fighting for their life. They've got the Slark going back on through. Another Sprout will secure the kill on this Sven. He's got no buyback. And there's going to be a big pounce here. Slark definitely putting in those hours. Top is able to get off the Sunder here. He's also got the Satanic at his disposal if he needs that as well. So that's going to be some big kills going the way. Lich gets down the kill on the Jakiro, but it looks like Nature's Prophet will end up falling. Now he doesn't have buyback. Once again, Shoes is a pig walking back to base. Slark, he's going in, he's trying to man up, he's trying to get this done. Do they have the damage to get down the Storm Spirit? He's able to zip away. Nothing to lock him down in place just yet. Now Top is able to go through. He's still got the Satanic at his disposal, so if he gets stuck, oh, but he gets bashed! Is not able to cast the Satanic and not able to get enough off of it. So in the end, Clink scraping by, but able to secure a huge swing there. And in the end, it's going to be slightly in favor of the Radiant, but they got Mega'd. You can't afford to get Mega'd with a lineup like this. They have such single target damage that they've got no wave clear. And we'll see if this is going to prove to be too much for the Radiant. No, you know, the Dire's Ancient isn't too much of a ship shape as well. It's got tier 4s, it's missing 2 sets of racks, so again, one really nice wipe for the Radiant means that they can go in and push this down. But that means they will have to keep their lanes clear, because if they neglect their base for too long, Mega Creeps will just ransack it. And with only one tier 4 standing, that's not something you can afford. As we see here, just trying his best, really trying to get something done here. He's got the Octarine, he's got the Refresher, he's got mana for days, but the damage might not be enough, and there's a zip in from the Storm Spirit going through. They're gonna get a pick on the Slark, and that's gonna be huge! Slark ends up dying with no buyback, and this could be the window that the Dire are waiting for.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Now Jakiro picks himself up a Mystic Staff. Ambitious little item, looks like he is going for a Hex. And we'll see if he's able to get it off. It's a very expensive item. Now Lich sitting back, he doesn't want to fight with those damage dealers, and rightfully so. I mean, you've got to have at least the Clinks and the Prophet, or the Slark and the Prophet, or the Slark and the Clinks, in order to get something done here. Just having one carry isn't enough. You've got to split the attention of the Dire just enough so that they can't group up, they can't focus one person. Again, just sitting back, waiting for the farm work to continue, and it's still in favor of the Radiant in terms of net worth. XP is going to be a quite similar story. I mean, not as much in favor of the Radiant. And oh, this is going to be huge here. You've got that Shadow Blade on Leshrac, so he did end up going that crazy carry build like we talked about. Now Murp in some trouble, is going to be able to pick himself back to base. The towers go down. It's an exposed throne. Can the Radiant bring this one home? Looks like they are able to get a pick onto the Sven. Sven has no buyback. And now Top, he's melting down. He gets off this Thunder. Murp, he's going to be falling. Can they just focus the Ancient here? Top, wrong building, son. You're hitting the Prophet. Hit the Ancient, man. He's going to be dying. He's sitting on the fire, but it's still a team. He's fine, but he will end up going down. That's going to be a Terrorblade falling. He does have buyback if he needs it. They're looking for the Storm Spirit as well. Storm Spirit, he's limping away. He falls. He has buyback as well if he needs it. The rest of the Radiant, they're buying back. They're trying to clear out the creeps that could end up taking down their Ancient any second now. But Dire, That was so costly. They just were so wrapped up in going for these hero pickoffs that they ignored the fact that the throne was open. I mean, this is going to be huge if Radiant can turn this into some sort of push, but they may have to sit back and just deal with these creeps for another 10-15 minutes. Alright, now Lich... It did end up picking up the Aghanim Scepter a while back, also has the Boots of Travel, so able to join up with the team if there's any sort of sticky situation. Also able to TP back to the base if the creeps end up pushing in a little bit too deep for comfort. And, well, Meat Merp, trying his best to clean up these creeps, is able to do so fairly quickly. Again, he has picked up that Daedalus like we talked about a little bit of a while back. Has the Helm of the Dominator, so looks like he is going for his own Satanic. Has to make sure he saves for buyback, but he did just buy back, so it's on cooldown for a little bit. He can afford to treat himself. And they're sitting there. They're going to be going for a final lane of Rax, trying to make it Megas on Megas, but I feel like just going for the tier 4s may have been a bit more efficient. Now BKB's abundant. They're all low cooldown, and looks like Leshrac taking a decent chunk of damage. The ult from the Lich won't bounce, but they will get to pick on the Leshrac, who does not have buyback. Now Sven coming back on through. He's got the God Strike. He's ripping apart the Prophet. The Prophet falls. Prophet has no buyback. That's going to be really, really big for the Dire. Can they get this done on the backlash? It's going to be a TP in from the Terrorblade, trying to get Merp down. Looks like Merp. He's got his eyes on the prize. He wants to go for the Rax. He will hit 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hits. They're down. Can Merp get up with his life here? That's the question. He's gonna go through. He's gonna be sheep sticked up. Looks like he's just gonna be trying to live through a whole hell of a lot of damage. He ends up dying here. Leshrac disconnects. We'll see what happens there, but it looks like it could be an even game. We've got an exposed throne on the side of the Radiant. We've got mega creeps on the side of the Dire, so Megas on Megas does even out the score just a tad. We'll see if Radiant can bring this one home, but Dire, all they've got to do is get their asses together, get down mid, hit the throne. Is that going to prove too much? I don't know. Alright, just the tower. So it looks like top has had enough of this. They're going in without their Leshrac. They're just going to be doing the best they can. Here's, oh, Shoes just gets blasted apart, but not before he drops his ulti. It's bouncing between the creeps, but again, it's an Ags. It's going to keep going and going and going. The GG is called, but I don't know if that's really within reason, as the Slark, he's still up. He's still fighting. He's going to be going through so much damage. Clint Eastwood's ult, just ripping everyone apart. He's still got another one at some point. He's going to be going through. He already used the refresher, but top now 1v1ing the Zeus. Hit the building! And looks like the Dire, they're so focused on getting these kills that they may end up beating away their lives. As Clint Eastwood, he's still fighting. They get down the Jakiro, and they get down the Terrorblade. It's going to be Zeus coming back on through. Will end up getting the pick onto the Zeus, who buys back, and he's back full health, full mana. And Storm Spirit, not so much the same story. He's going to use all his mana just getting out of that fight successfully. Another huge initiation where you just... no eyes on the prize. Dire, not quite sure who's captaining this pirate ship, but it is just steering into a ravine. They are not going in. The Ancient had half health at one point, but instead they try to 1v1 the Zeus at low health. It just doesn't make sense to me. So in terms of overall gold, it's getting more towards that even territory at this point. At 66 minutes in the game, it's tight. It's not a huge lead for either team. Kill score is still relatively even. Seems like Radiant have better potential to actually go for the kills, go for these fights, go for the damage, but Dire are just so much more effective at pushing when they want to. They can clear lanes way quicker than the Radiant can, so we'll see if they want to get their act together and split push, if they want to just group up and go down mid and actually hit the Ancient this time. You know, there's a lot of possibilities, but you're playing up against a Prophet, and he's one of those guys that you can't leave alone for too long. All he has to do is break that backdoor protection, bring in his Treant army, teleport to your tier 4s, and suddenly your Ancient is severely under siege. And there's going to be a Roshan respawning just tragically soon after Klinks checks the pit, so within 10 seconds or so that guy should be up. Very, very quick respawn on that. Actually, that's when we find out when the respawn is. So maybe a little bit longer for that. There we go. It is a very, very quick respawn on the Rosh. Now Dire, they're grouping up here. Again, very little detection. At 66 minutes in the game, you expect a couple of gems flapping around, but currently you've got 2 dusts on the Jakiro, and that's it to reveal a Slark who's been using that Shadow Blade all game to reveal the Clinks, who's been causing such a problem because he goes in from backlines and starts wailing on you with that strafe. We'll see if gems get picked up, but this may just be a no-gem game, and that's really one of the weaknesses of Dire's play. Now TP in from the Prophet. They're going in. They want this Roche. It's melting relatively quickly. Merp throwing out a lot of damage. Will be putting something on the floor here. Not able to mouse over that and see what it is, but looks like Clinks. He's willing to drop anything for this Aegis of the Immortal. And, well, we'll see if he's able to get it here. This will be a Cheese Roche. He's going to be dropping that down. Cheese on the floor. Sprout in. Guess Radiant having a little bit of fun with their own teammates. And Dire, well, they're not playing here. They're not going to be going in. They're not going to try to contest this. The Clink did end up dropping out that Helm of the Dominator, so maybe the dreams of Satanic are few and far between, as Radiant, they just want to get in and rip off the band-aid and end this game. All they've got to do is push one more time successfully in terms of overall buybacks. Terrorblade is the only one out of 10 players who has enough money for buyback, and if he ends up buying out now, that's going to be not the best plan. So basically, if you go down once, you are just tapped out. There's going to be a silence up onto the Jakiro. He goes in with that defensive Yules. Oh, Shrek just being ripped apart. They go in. They can only hex up one target, but they're going to choose the Nature's Prophet. This is getting bloody here on the back lines. You've got everyone fighting for their lives. Jakiro falls. No buyback on him. You've got Slark now in some trouble. He's going to be trying to take out the Leshrac for his life. Merp takes care of that. Shoes, he's still alive. Somehow the Lich ends up living through this damage, and there's going to be mana problems on the side of the Storm Spirit. They lose the Aegis on the Clinks. He's going to be coming back up to life now. Can he live? Terrorblade wailing away at the Slark for all he's worth now. Terrorblade does not have that Sunder at his disposal. Still has the Satanic. He's going to pop the Satanic, but he's stunned up. He can't get the most out of it. Looks like he's trying to get that lifesteal, but it's not going to be enough. Terrorblade falls. He's got the buyback. He's the only one. Prophet now ticks over to enough gold with the buyback. Will buyback. Will TP in, but Storm Spirit, he's back with a vengeance. Meep is going to be dropping. And now the tier 4 is under siege as Top, he comes back on into this fight. But I don't think it's going to be enough here as the Radiant, they might be doing it. All the creeps are in favor of the Radiant. They go back on through. That's a dieback on the Terrorblade. And I think that's going to be GG here. At 70 minutes in the game, they bring in the Storm Spirit going back on through. The Prophet does end up losing his life. That's a dieback on the Prophet, but you've got enough damage here. Clint Eastwood hit the throne. They bring in the Boots of Traveled Clinks. He's going to go back on through. They're going to be wailing away at the throne, and the GG is called out. They're focusing on the Storm Spirit, though. They want to make sure they get him down. He's BKB'd up. He's going to be fighting for his life. He's fighting for his throne. He's fighting for everything. This 70-minute game is just going awry. And now at 71 minutes in, they're going back on through. The Mega Creeps, the heroes are here. The throne ends up going down at 71 minutes in. What a back and forth game here early on. I mean, just look at that plummet at such an early time. 17 minutes. You had almost a 12k net worth lead, but Radiant, they brought it home. They played collectively. They focused on kills. They focused on items, and Dire, they just played a little too haphazardly. So in the end, congrats Radiant for pulling this one out. Again, I've been your caster, Annie, aka Android. Hope you enjoyed this replay cast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an excellent day.